What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of another movie podcast. I am one of your three hosts, Matthew, and I am joined by my two other homies. Who wants to go first? Or a second?
It is I, Andrew, and I am here. I went all my for a second. I couldn't think.
Hi, I am Rico.
I am here.
And as your third host, I'm Rico Lerma.
Hell yeah. 10 out of 10 intro, guys.
Yep.
Last name though, so
I just realized, I was like, oh, I was about to start talking as if I'm doing a spiel for work.
And also, to give you guys some context, we are actually recording together right now. We're all in the same room for once. We're not doing it over a call.
Yeah, apologies if it sounds a little different. We hope it doesn't sound too bad. Our discussion will still be there, fully intact. Hopefully very clear audio. I trust Rico's mic. I've heard that shit before in the past. It's quite A1. So yeah, hopefully it translates well for you guys. We've got a doozy of an episode for you guys.
Yeah, we do.
And yeah, I'm not gonna waste any more time. You guys just ready to get right into the film discussion?
Let's do it.
I'm down. Let's do this.
Okay. Yeah. So the first movie we're going to be discussing today is. At the time, the movie was in theaters. Quick little mention, we were on a hiatus, but we're back now. And the last episode, we mentioned that the next episode is going to be Jurassic World Dominion in Men. So, had to play a little catch up here, but we're still going to get the discussion out. So yeah, first movie we're going to be discussing is Jurassic World Dominion. And yeah, well, let me just tell you that it wasn't good.
Yeah, it was absolute dog shit.
Holy shit. I never thought a Jurassic Park movie could be so bad. Like, that was... Oh my god, it wasn't even enjoyable in any point in the movie.
And it's weird, too, because, like, you know, you can argue whether any of them are justified after the first one, which, in my opinion, none of them are, really. No. They kind of just do the same thing to, you know, different levels of quality, which I think the last good one was probably the second one, The Lost World. I thought that one was okay. Like, that one was pretty good. Jurassic World, the start of this new set of trilogies, was, I thought, okay.
It was
like, it's passable.
It was a passable kind of like sequel, remake, reboot kind of thing.
Kind of like a Force Awakens situation.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Force Awakens.
And at the same time, when it was being made, that was like the whole reboot rise for like, you know, like Force Awakens and there's Jurassic World.
Mm-hmm.
Bunch of other sequels from old school movies were being released. Whether you had like your Shafts 2 or 3. I don't know which it was it Shaft 2 or 3? Do you guys remember Shaft?
I've never seen Shaft, but I know what you're talking about.
There was the reboot one when it was like him, his son being played by A-Train from The Boys, Jesse T. Usher.
That was him?
That was him.
Oh, I didn't put that
and
together.
then apparently
He's such a
his
dweeb.
dad is in it too. Like Shaft's dad. I don't know if that was like a second or third.
I have the IMDb right here.
Perfect.
Oh, the
yeah.
original Shaft.
Yeah, like how do you say that? Richard Roundtree, right? That's how you say it? That's the original Shaft. It's like John Shaft Sr., Shaft Jr. was A-Train, and then Sam Jackson was
Shaft.
just Shaft. He was the middle one. But yeah, so it's like it makes sense that like, you know, there was a lot of these coming out around that time, I think. So it's kind of like
We are in an age of Hollywood where we're going to get a lot of reboots, remakes, continuations of other established franchises.
shit. Video games are doing it too. Fucking Dead Space,
God
the
of
remake,
War.
God of War,
The Last of Us show.
Last of Us show. Yeah, just like so much shit coming out,
Kind of
being
like a
remade or
sequel reboot with God of War.
yeah, it's like a reboot story wise, but you know, it's a sequel
Mhm.
continuity wise kind of thing. And then Dead Space is just a full on remake. Love Dead Space, by the way. It's like my favorite game series ever. Just want to say that. But the point is, there's a lot of remakes and shit going around nowadays.
And a lot of them are either okay, passable, but most of them, and especially very evident with this one, Dominion, it is very evident that it is just like tarnishing the rest of the franchise. Even though it hasn't had a great record since the second one, it's still like just burying it, and I feel like this really took it out.
Yeah, because I feel like all the other ones after the first Jurassic Park all provide a certain level of entertainment value that it didn't really get from this one.
Yeah.
Which, don't get me wrong, this is entertaining in a really, like, laughably, like, it's so bad, it's funny kind of way. Like, it has a lot of that. So, like, I definitely can find some enjoyment there, but objectively, I think it's the worst movie in this franchise, like, for sure. And what's crazy is that, like, the previous two in my head that were really bad in this franchise was the first one. Okay, Jurassic Park 3, I haven't watched it in a long time. I know it's regarded as a pretty bad movie in this franchise, but I don't think it's as bad in my head. Like, again, I haven't watched it in a long time. I might feel differently now, but in my head, in my memory, I don't think it's the worst one.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's like maybe like a solid 5 out of 10. Like, maybe.
But I love that you brought it up because as we started like opening and talking about Jurassic Park in general, how it's like overstayed its welcome, I immediately thought of the third one.
Yeah.
Because I love that it's so fucking stupid when like Alan Grant, right? That's the main guy's name.
Yeah.
Sam McNeil's
I know what
character.
you're gonna
Like
say.
he's just like he's asleep on a plane,
Oh,
and then he looks over. There's a dinosaur talking, saying Alan. Yeah. And then he wakes up, and it's just like I was like, stop.
Even when I watched that as a kid, I thought that was a little goofy.
Oh my
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here with that, dude. Oh my god.
So I do give Jurassic Park 3 a lot of slack because the first and second movie, they were based off of the 2 books that were
Right,
by
yeah,
Michael
yeah.
Crichton.
Because what was it? Steven Spielberg bought the rights or something, or convinced him to make it a movie.
Something like that.
It was
yeah.
something along those lines. I don't remember exactly.
I can look it up, but
Yeah.
you guys keep
No,
talking.
Yeah, like so Jurassic Park 3 was like, oh, you know what? Let's try this other thing. Like, how about we explore the other island and everything, and then put now that Malcolm went to this second island, let's put Alan Grant on this other island and see how he does. But you could just tell from the quality because it's like just the visual scene and everything. Like it went from like you know, in that scene where they're going around poaching all the dinosaurs in the second movie,
Mhm.
and they're like grinding them down. There's like big open fields, and you can tell it was like kind of like the same like geographical location as the other island. In the third one, it's just not at all the same. It doesn't look at all like coherent with the other ones. There's no giant plains or anything, and it's just like all forest, dense forest, and everything. And then they just try to like power boost all the raptors.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so really
Yeah.
quick.
Did you find it?
Spielberg acquired adaptation rights with assistance from Universal Studios for $1.5 billion ahead of the novel's publication in 1990. And apparently, James Cameron at the time was trying to get the rights as well.
Holy shit.
Diabolical.
Yeah, so apparently Spielberg and Universal beat James Cameron by hours
Wow.
to acquire these rights.
Hours?
Damn.
Yeah, I haven't gone into the article, but like that's what the headline
You know
is.
what? But think about it. Could you imagine?
The Cameron version of
Of
Jurassic
Jurassic
Park?
Park?
That would have.
I would think it'd be a little more serious, right? Because I mean, look at Terminator
Okay.
alone. Like,
So have you guys read the books?
no.
No.
Have you?
Yeah, I've
How
read
are they?
both of them. The first, okay, so both books. The second one I feel like is a big step down from the first one, but they do show the animalistic nature of like the raptors.
Mm.
They're not smart. They're fucking vicious, dude. They
Oh.
tear like they. I can't remember his name, but there's a character who falls off a tree railing,
Oh shit.
and he gets torn to pieces immediately before even touching the ground. And like the raptors even eat themselves because they accidentally scratch each other, and then they're like, "Oh, that guy's dead," and then they just eat each other and they tear an entire corpse up, and it's like very visual in like how it's portrayed.
Very descriptive.
The first one, it shows the dinosaurs in such a bigger like violent light, and it's like I would say the first Jurassic Park movie, like it does a pretty good job. Like I feel like that's a great movie. I love that movie. Like I really enjoy the wonder it puts out throughout, but it's not nearly as gruesome as the books. Like they describe it. It's bad.
And when you think about it, like just from what you're telling us about the book, it's a little more realistic.
Yeah.
Because how dinosaurs were the apex predator for like centuries, or like however long the BC period lasted. I don't remember right now, but the point is just like they're very territorial, they're very predatorial, they're very like I'm the shit. I'm going to eat you. Fucking deal with it. That's kind of what dinosaurs are. Like just a lot of predators like that in general. So
Where
just-
the apex predator
like yeah,
is.
like it's
Yeah.
they're the most aggressive, they're the most violent, they don't give a fuck, they will do what they want to do.
Mhm.
So that I that's interesting. I kind of want to read the books now just from hearing that. It's
Yeah,
interesting.
dude. In the beginning of the second book, it follows like the Carnos. So basically, like the Carnotauruses are like the smaller T-Rexes with the horns, and then They have really tiny arms.
Mhm.
So it's like they have like because all these dinosaurs are not real dinosaurs.
Mhm.
So they're all saying like the entire theme of the movie is like these aren't real. It's all just a show. It's a flea circus basically. And
Mhm.
what these dinosaurs are actually just man-made monstrosities
Right.
because they're taking on qualities of like other like reptiles. So the Carnos actually have the ability to completely like camouflage themselves with like the background. So it's this giant fucking like predator that's like they're all like essentially chameleons in a
That
way.
was-
Don't they kind of touch on that in Jurassic World?
Yeah, with
That thing is chameleon.
the
No,
Oh, I
it
completely
is.
missed it.
Like there was a scene where like
the first one, right? The very first.
yeah, the first Jurassic
Yeah.
World where like one of the guys goes in there and they're like, what the fuck? Like
Where is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where is it? And then like he goes in there and then like it reveals itself like, oh, they can camouflage.
Yeah.
Oh,
It is-
the Indominosaurus.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
it was saying because the doctor from the original one that's back in this one explains that it's a mixture of so many apex predators. That's why it looks
Yeah.
so frightening and like it's terrifying. And also, fun fact: the soldier who points out that he can do camouflage. I think I'm right in saying this. He played Shredder in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movies too. The live action one. I think that was him. He was also in the Wolverine. He played that sleazy businessman. I think that was him. I could be wrong. I could be totally wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's him. And he played Shredder in Out of the Shadows. I think that was him. I just wanted to mention that.
I would rewatch the first Jurassic World. I would
It was
rewatch
entertaining. Like everything with the Indominus Rex was pretty.
Yeah,
I
that
remember
was
watching it
good.
for the first time. I was like, I like this.
No, it's pure
Yeah.
entertainment value,
Yeah.
and I'm like, okay, this is where they're nailing this. But
Mhm.
and what's crazy is that like I could see like this set of 3 films, that it could have been something good.
Mhm.
Like there were nuggets of like, okay, like these are like, okay, first Jurassic World, not established, it shouldn't be made at all. But if you're gonna do it, okay, at least have a little fun with it.
Yeah.
Which I felt like it kind of was. I was like, okay. It's not like a great movie, but it's
Yeah.
solid 6 out of 10. Fucking
Because they
entertaining.
do, I will give it some credit. Like in the movie, they kind of acknowledge, like they thought this was a good idea to like make a park of dinosaurs. I think they mentioned it in the movie, right?
Yeah.
Like in the first one, they like joke about how like this is insane and they shouldn't be doing it. I could be wrong,
The thing
but
about
I think I remember that. In the first
Yeah, it's just that kind of writing where we're
Yeah.
like, okay, we're gonna be self-aware of it, even
At
though we
least-
know it's dumb.
At least it's like they're trying, like they're having more fun with it, but it still really doesn't justify it being made for me.
Well, yeah, because it's
Yeah.
like it's just
Yeah.
like that fucking oh my god, that monopoly type of attitude, like the capitalist in like
Yeah, exactly.
humans. I can see like why that is a reason they kept wanting to go through with it.
The
so.
thing about that too is that like I just didn't like how fan servicey it was in a
Yeah.
lot of like the dialogue because there was like, why are you wearing that Jurassic Park shirt in this Jurassic World event and
Yeah.
everything? And then they're like, that first park was legit, like, and it was just like, come on.
That was Nick from New Girl.
Yeah,
What's
yeah.
his name? You're like Jake Johnson.
Yeah,
That was
but
Jake Johnson in that.
a
movie,
lot
too.
of that was just like it was just a lot of callbacks, which I've seen in like The Force Awakens too.
Mhm.
It's like a lot of these reboots, they can't just be their own thing, and it's like I feel like they should have just strove past it.
They tread over familiar territory that we're safe with.
Yeah.
Like, I get it, but yeah, that's why I give like the first one like a little bit of slack too. Just like,
Yeah.
it's not. Yeah, you're right. It's not its own thing, but like at least it's. Out of these other 2, I know we've been talking about the other ones because like
Literally,
they're much
that's
more
how,
interesting.
guys, everybody listening, that's how you know we really don't give a fuck about this newest Jurassic World because it's just, we're not even
Yeah.
talking about it.
Yeah.
How long have we been recording now?
14 minutes.
We've been talking for 14 fucking minutes about the other Jurassic Parks. That is how you know we don't give a fuck about this one. Like I was realizing it as we were talking. I was like, we should probably talk about the movie we were here
Yeah.
to talk about at some point.
I was waiting
So
to
I
get the
think-
segue in.
So I think let's just get into it now. One thing I want to bring up from this newest one,
yeah.
it annoyed the shit out of me that they kept doing that whole what's the name of Laura Dern's character?
Fuck.
Oh god. Yeah, you guys keep talking. I'll look it up. I got the IMDb.
Well, either way,
Maybe.
Sam McNeil's character and Laura Dern's character from the first ones are back. So is Jeff Goldblum.
Oh.
That's like the whole like oh my god, it's the new
Sadler.
Jurassic. Yeah, Ellie Sadler. There we go.
Sadler, yeah.
Yeah. So I hated how they kept doing that stupid high school like.
Oh,
Oh, you're single now? Oh my god, that's crazy.
Yeah, we
and he's
got
just like,
divorced,
yeah, you're
like-
single too? Wild. Like, I hated it.
No,
I was like,
it
oh
is
my God.
some really cringe dialogue.
I hate it
It's
so much.
yeah, it was. I was getting secondhand embarrassment watching
Me
that.
too.
I was like, these like A-list actors, like don't get me wrong, like I can tell they're kind of having fun. They're not taking this super seriously.
Yeah.
But man, like you could just tell, like Jeff Goldblum specifically did not give a fuck.
No,
They're just there to collect a paycheck.
Absolutely.
Like, I mean,
Yeah.
not like I was expecting much different, but
Yeah.
oh man, like they just, it is like the epitome of just throwing them in there for nostalgia bait.
Yeah,
Like
that's
there's-
the fan service right there. Everyone wanted them to stay together after the first movie because he was like, oh, he found like his love for kids, you know, like
Yeah.
maybe they're gonna be a successful couple, and then the next one they find out that they're not together anymore,
Mhm.
and then it's like they were like, oh, all the fans wanted this, so we'll give it to them, and then
now, like almost what? How many years has it been?
30 years ago.
30 years, 30
yeah.
plus fucking years, and now we're getting not even them in a relationship, but them doing this stupid lovey-dovey, flirty high school bullshit.
yeah,
Like, they're grown adults.
Yeah,
They're not children anymore. Like, let them just be a thing. I have that issue so much with like ongoing IPs that just can't let certain characters be together. Like with Batman in the comics, a while back there was the whole Bat-Cat wedding thing,
yeah.
where Catwoman and Batman were finally gonna get married, and then Selena Kyle calls it off because you find out Bane had this master plan for Batman to like ruin him. I was like, just let him get married.
Yeah.
He can still be Batman and be married. This is stupid. Like,
Yeah, there had to be something in the way of
That's-
it.
Bachelor forever.
I hate that because that is such a cop out. Instead of actually putting in the time to write a very strong, powerful, dynamic like relationship
Yeah,
in a
here's
film or
marriage.
TV or whatever.
Yeah.
I hate that.
And
But
that
I
could
get
work,
it sometimes.
too.
I
It
get it
really
sometimes,
could.
but it could have worked with these two.
Yeah.
Because Laura Dern and Sam McNeill, they're both very good actors.
Yeah,
They could make it work.
and it's like it's even been set up in the first Jurassic Park. It's like it's
Yeah.
similar to that, where it's like it is established because you do like you want them to be together. It's
Mhm.
true.
Yeah.
Like you did want that after the first film, and then the second film you don't have them at all.
Yeah.
And then the third one, it's like, so they didn't end up together, and it's crazy. Like in retrospect, if you think about it, that film came out, I believe. I'll look up the dates afterwards, but like a little over 10 years after the first one.
Yeah.
I think the first one was 93, and then Jurassic Park 3 was like 2002, 2003.
I think so. Yeah.
Like 10 years esque, give or take. But yeah, it's like you wanted to see that, but at the same time, it's like. But they should have been in the first Jurassic World, so it would have been like a little bit integrated, a little bit better, instead of just throwing them in the last one to be like, all right, we need to get those like member berries in.
And I'm glad you brought that up because I was honestly thinking, like, I can guarantee you, they probably approached them for the first one and they said no.
Well,
And they probably approached them.
Malcolm did for the end. He was giving like.
Oh yeah, but like,
we're
no,
gonna
no, no.
own the
And
world now.
he was in the second one. None of the original cast.
Jeff Goldblum?
Yeah, he wasn't in the first one.
Oh, you're talking about Jurassic World?
Yeah, like I'm talking
He
about
was not in the second.
No, he was at the end, wasn't he?
He makes like a
The
speech.
speech,
like a speech, but like
that's what I mean.
yeah,
That's my
kinda,
point.
yeah.
But that's my point. Like in the first one, none of the original cast came back, and I can bet you they asked them if they wanted to.
Oh,
They
yeah.
probably were like, really like, we'll pay you this much if you come back, and they were probably like, no, I don't want to do this.
And
Yeah.
here's what I think it is too. Because guess how much both of those movies made separately,
World.
worldwide.
Mm.
I know the not the exact number, but I know the general gist.
And you're asking about Jurassic World, though, right?
Jurassic World, yes, these two movies, the
I
first
know
two
the first
before
one.
Dominion.
I know the first one did really well, from what I heard at the box office.
Here's some guesses.
900 million. I hope it didn't
We'll do,
cost
like,
a billion.
I'll do maybe. I'm gonna say $1 billion. Actually, I feel like it could have. I'll say $1 billion.
$1.6 billion.
Yep,
What
there
the
it is.
The first one,
Because it had
So-
been so long since there was a Jurassic Park movie in
That's
general.
true.
and it was
people-
decent.
And
I
people
would-
were excited to see it. Like they're like, oh my god! And plus, it's like you have Chris Pratt from Guardians of the Galaxy. Like people really liked him at the time. Now it's like I'm hearing a lot of mixed things, but like at the time he was really blowing up. So people were like, I want to go see that.
Yeah, I'm gonna look it up really quick just to fact check myself.
Mhm.
Yes, $1.671 billion.
Good
So,
Jesus
that's the
Christ.
first one. How much do you think the second one made?
Definitely not as much for sure.
Yeah, I'm gonna say 800.
6.
600 million?
Yes.
No. You're guessing?
Yeah, I'm guessing 6. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think it made as much as the first one.
1.3 billion.
The second one?
Kidding?
Like,
That was
what was
terrible.
What was
Okay.
the second one called again?
Okay.
It was
Fallen Kingdom.
Fallen
Okay,
Kingdom. There we go.
I will give it this. Like, Jurassic World wasn't a bad movie, so I think that they were like, oh, you know what? All the dinosaurs escaped the zoo or whatever.
Yeah,
like, it's gonna be all across the world. Like, I could see how they were like
the second
saying
one.
like the second one, dinosaurs are gonna be everywhere. It's not gonna be the zoo.
Which is
I
a
can
cool
understand.
premise. Like, you could understand why you want to go watch it like that. I saw it in theaters for that.
Dominion had a good-
I was curious, like, oh, what's gonna happen?
Because it's like that concept is a little, because like you see it touched upon in the Lost World in the second one with, you know, the T-Rex
Yeah.
in LA. So like you get like a snippet of it, like, okay, now we're gonna see like throughout the whole world.
Yeah.
But you don't fucking get that in
You
this
don't.
entire fucking movie. Like it's mostly just retarded bullshit.
Do you,
Fucking, you know, we're gonna focus on these fucking locusts or something like that.
Oh my God.
I really do not understand so much focus on that fucking
Thank you
subplot.
for bringing that up.
Yeah,
The
and then
locusts were so stupid.
yeah, and I'm like, don't get me wrong, like the whole action scenes with frickin' Chris Pratt going through the fucking streets of wherever the fuck we were, getting chased by like raptors, like that's bad too.
Yeah.
Him fucking wrangling fucking in the fucking snow, like.
oh yeah.
Okay, there's this one scene where he's trying to wrangle
The
one.
parasaur.
Yeah, and he gets one around a fucking tree branch.
With a horse, by the way, that he's riding. Let's not forget that. He was
Yeah.
a fucking horse.
And I'm like, dude, you would be ripped in half with the force of that thing pulling you, but he's able to like wrangle it with his fucking just normal body weight. Like, all right, I got the rope around the tree trunk. I'm totally stronger than this like few ton creature. Like,
And here's the thing, I was able, like, in the very first Jurassic World, I was able to let it slide when he was doing the raptor taming. That's one thing. Sort of like that's one thing. And
Let's talk about this.
even then,
Let's talk
I still
about
thought that was kind of dumb. I'm like, no, they would have torn him to shreds. But at the same time, I could let it
He
slide.
imprinted on
Like,
them. You
yeah,
could say that.
like you could
know?
you could make up some excuse and let it be whatever, like not make it a big deal.
yeah, don't
But
blockbuster.
to be strong enough to stop a fucking dinosaur with a rope
Yeah,
and a whole fuck you, no.
yeah.
That would have at least been like, oh, like he would have struggled a bit, but even then he would have been fine. But it's like,
Yeah.
that's not Batman. He's a normal human being.
Yeah, when I saw that, I remember Rico like, you're like, this movie is fucking hilarious. Like, I was like, bro, he must have laughed at that part. I'm like,
oh my god.
it's coming out right out the pat with this
So
shit.
what you were saying with the whole like the taming raptor thing with sticking your hand out, being like, hey, like that kind of thing. Jesus Christ, they did that every time they saw a dinosaur, and they were just able to like tame the dinosaur or
thank
something.
you.
Like
Thank you.
it'd be like a little kid going, no, like sticking your hand out. Oh, that tames the dinosaur. Like
Yeah, it was a fucking
what the
punchline.
fucking like carnosaurs, like
If anything, it's like,
carnosaurs.
oh, you're staking it out? Oh, just,
Yeah,
they would kill you. Like,
oh my god.
but even then, I'm saying, like, even though that's like the most ridiculous and dumbest shit, you're willing to let it slide if the movie is good and you can tell there's effort made. With this recent one, no fucking effort. Such a cash grab. You don't even see that many dinosaurs. Like, the only time we did was whenever they're getting chased by one or whatever. Like you mentioned with Chris Pratt. I will admit, I think the idea of being chased by a raptor is cool. Like, that could be done really well, but they kind of didn't do anything like
There's
crazy
nothing
cool here.
cool about
It
it.
just felt like a
No.
generic motorcycle chase.
Yeah.
That's what kind of annoyed me. I was like, this could have been really cool.
Like it could have just the raptor could have just been replaced with another motorcycle, and it would have been the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
and I find the whole thing of like, there's a lot of shitty subplots in this movie, and like another one being like this weird subplot where like there's like this kind of like weird spy espionage shit,
Yeah.
where this chick can
Oh,
like laser
yeah.
point like some of these people
She
and like
was
the raptors.
terrible.
Yeah, really awful actress, by the way. I don't know who it was.
Every
but-
time she walked into frame, she would be posing as if she was like on a runway.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
super stiff, just like, like with a laser pointer, like,
Yeah, so there's this laser pointer where they establish that wherever you point this laser, the raptors will just like they'll just focus on you. Makes no fucking sense
Yeah.
because like after you click after you tag somebody, like okay, so like the it's imprinted on them, like
forever. or
yeah,
something.
forever. Like it makes no sense, and so it's like okay, these creatures are wild and they're chasing Chris Pratt and fucking Bryce Dallas Howard through these streets, laser focused on them only, while they're passing numerous other people that are much easier targets, by the way. Like It makes no fucking sense.
No, yeah, because when you think about it, like a raptor, as soon as like it's not gonna catch something and it sees something that it can catch, it's gonna go to the thing it can catch. So I was kind of like, it's stupid. Like,
All
it's-
of it.
Yeah,
All of
it is an
was
excuse
dumb.
for like dumb action sequences that don't look great. Anyways, it's just so dumb. It's so bad.
You know what I just remembered now though? I forgot, but in the second one, remember that little girl or whatever? She was like the daughter or granddaughter or
Oh,
something.
the clone.
Yeah, she's
Yeah.
a clone.
The
Like I
clone.
remember, and then like the whole plot with her getting kidnapped because she's a clone, and then
Yeah.
oh, we need to keep her in isolation. Da, da, da. I was just like, I'm here for dinosaurs. What the fuck, locust clones?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. But yeah.
Stop!
That was the
Like,
next
me,
thing.
a
brought up.
T-Rex biting someone's head off. What is that? I'm asking for something so simple here.
Like, you can already create a fucking dinosaur. Why do you need this little girl?
I know, dude. It's so fucking stupid.
Oh, do you guys want to talk about this? So the main villain, the Steve Jobs guy.
Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay, so Biosyn in the books is like the espionage. They always steal products from people and then make it their own. And this guy that's like the Steve Jobs of this Biosyn company, he was just the guy that was just who paid out the first, like the Ned guy, the big guy in the first movie.
Yeah. So Biosyn is a company that is in the books.
Yeah.
Yes, it is
Okay.
in the
Okay.
books, and there are basically a lot of reasons why the first one happened was because they fucked everything up. But yeah, so this guy, even if you go through the continuity of the Jurassic Park films, he went from like this corporate espionage guy to this guy that like he just seems like he's trying to portray like autism in a way, dude.
It felt
Like,
weird, right?
yeah,
Okay.
like, he had like all these little tics and mannerisms where he was just not good with social people. But in the first one, he's like out here like smooth talking. He's like spy.
Yeah.
He's a fucking spy. And then in the next one, he's all this Steve Jobs guy that just is not good with like social cues. And it's like, what in the fuck? Like, what happened? Even in the continuity, it doesn't make sense, and it's just dumb. They just made Steve Jobs.
And it's so weird that specifically these three movies have brought back characters from that first movie that are so minute and like
Yeah.
not important.
Yeah.
Like they brought back, I don't specifically remember his name,
Wu?
but yes,
Dr. Wu?
Yeah, yeah,
Wu.
Dr. Wu. In the very first one, when I rewatched Jurassic Park, I was like, oh, it's him, and I was like, okay, he was not an important character whatsoever. He was just in that little intro sequence in Jurassic Park, and that was it for the whole entire movie.
Like, honestly, I'm surprised he didn't bring fucking Samuel L. Jackson because he was in the first one too. He was one of the scientists.
Let's bring him back, motherfucker.
I'm surprised he didn't, honestly.
Just because you've seen a black arm go down, doesn't mean that it was Sam Jackson. Dude.
Like, yeah, what are you trying to say, huh?
There was other black people working here, man.
You just didn't see them.
Yeah.
But in the books, Dr. Wu is a little bit more prevalent in the first one, but then dies. So it's like,
Oh,
it's not.
interesting.
Yeah, he's the one that's all like fighting for like, oh, I'm the one that made dinosaurs, basically. Like I'm the like genius behind it, and they're just animals. Like they're not real, they're not living. But then he realizes they are living, and then dies.
Oh, okay. Wow, that's cool.
So yeah,
So would have been better than what we got.
Yeah, I think he's like a hero or some shit by the end of the movie.
is there anything positive you guys can say about it? Because there's only like, I mean, I could probably say the special effects are okay, but that's probably about it.
You're fine. No
Like,
one
there's
does a great
some-
job acting wise. I mean, me personally, I just like, I always love seeing Bryce Dallas Howard on the screen. Because that woman,
Very beautiful. woman.
absolutely.
I don't feel the same way.
How dare
She's good
She
looking
is-
on
she
its own. She's
She
not
is
my
a
cup of tea.
beautiful baddie, all right, sir. So that was like the only positive I had watching that movie, and I was just like, everything else sucks.
Dude, everything from the acting, from like just the scene location, how like it was just so many like subplots just all put into it. Then we got this this airplane pilot. Do you remember?
Oh,
Yeah, it was just like first she wasn't gonna help her, and then she did, and I was like, what the fuck? Why are you here?
Yeah, and then she's
What's
just
the
like
point?
the female version of Chris Pratt, and they're like,
I was like, really? You guys are so lazy. You wrote another character who's exactly the fucking same as your protagonist.
Yeah.
Really?
Another thing too is like, you remember the scene where they're trapped on the ice and their
Oh.
thought to fucking like get off the ice is to fucking run, I believe.
yeah,
That should have made the ice collapse faster.
No, yeah,
Yeah.
and I'm like, if you're in that situation, you should you should crawl.
Get on your belly
Yeah.
and start spreading your weight, distributing it. Like,
Yeah, I'm like, bro, these characters are so fucking stupid. Like, he can literally apparently tame like raptors, but like, he legit is probably about to fall through ice right now. Like,
and he was living in snow, so he would know the concept of ice.
Right?
That would just show the difference between if you were gonna have that scene and you're gonna rework it in a way that makes humans seem better than dinosaurs. It's that if they would have just distributed their weight on the floor, once the dinosaur started moving, he wouldn't know to distribute his weight, and he would have just fallen through.
Exactly.
And it would have shown, hey, humans are pretty cool too. There's a reason why we're still around too. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, the writers don't give a shit.
yeah.
You can tell everybody who was on this one was just like phoning it in, from the writing, the directing, the acting. Like, it's just, there's not a lot of positives here.
And who cares? Like, the film's made over $1 billion, so it's like,
it?
oh yeah, Jurassic World Dominion made $1 billion.
What was that? I couldn't see.
Just $1 billion.
Oh.
$1 billion and like a million.
That's disgusting.
It still made over $1 billion.
And yet you got movies like The Lighthouse and The Northman not making shit, and those movies are I'm mad.
Dude.
That's so stupid. Oh my god.
I mean, these films are straight just special effects vehicles, just to, you know. I mean, don't get me wrong. The concept of having dinosaurs on screen is a great idea. It does kind of make me wonder, like, okay, like, why hasn't there been, like, something else?
Yeah.
Like, that has dinosaurs, but just isn't Jurassic World? Is it, like, just, like, some of these...
Dinotopia.
Well, is it just, like, is it the fear of, like, some of these studios don't want to be in competition with, like, Jurassic Park?
I feel like it would come down to special effects, even practical effects. They just wouldn't be able to match up to what Jurassic Park World has done, you know?
But it, like, yeah, I guess you're right. But just imagine if, like, one of the other studios wanted to be in competition with that. Like, it could be done. But it's just a matter of, like, okay, well, then, like, you know, Jurassic Park's already done it. But it's like...
Have you guys ever seen this animated show called Primal?
Oh, Samurai Jack. No.
Samurai Jack creator. Same creator of Samurai Jack.
I
Have
can't
you guys ever
remember his
seen it?
name.
I haven't.
I have
Okay,
not,
so
but
just
I've been
a
wanting
quick
to.
rundown of the premise. It's literally what you guys are saying. So basically, it takes place during the BC period, and it's about a caveman who befriends a dinosaur, like a T-Rex, who's a female T-Rex.
Okay.
And like, it's just the thing that I really liked about this one. There was like almost no dialogue.
That's cool.
It is all
I like that.
like it's like the caveman communicating with the dinosaur in a primal way.
Okay.
Like very much like, you know, it's like
That's
kind of
realistic. Yeah.
like it's more like, you know, it's like there's like a sense of, without getting too much into details, it's on HBO Max. I want you guys to watch it. And it's literally that. It's like it's using the concept of having dinosaurs on screen and it's making it work. And
Okay.
it's very good.
Is it
It's very
animated?
well- it's animated.
Oh, okay.
It has 2 seasons so far. Both are on HBO Max. Ted Gardanowski, I think that's the guy who made Samurai Jack, who made this show too. I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but something like that.
That's pretty wild. I think you sold me on it.
Yeah.
I'll
So
check
I
it out.
like Samurai Jack
So if you got, also to the listeners, if you want your dinosaur fix, go watch Primal. It's on HBO. It was initially, when it first started coming out, I think it was coming out on Adult Swim, and now it's on HBO Max.
Okay, yeah, because like they have all the Adult Swim Cartoon Network catalog on HBO Max.
Yeah.
Like I believe Warner Brothers owns
Oh, that's
Cartoon
right.
Network.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. They do. Yeah.
So yeah, they have, you know, DC, fucking. I even see some Criterion Collection movies on there. HBO has like a lot of like quality shit from what I've noticed. Like out of all the streaming services, I kind of view HBO Max as like. Have you ever seen like that meme where it's like, Meg, why do you treat me like trash? And it's like fucking Peter, Brian, and Chris.
Oh yeah. Oh no. It's like
yeah.
They're all
No,
dressed
it's-
up.
it's-
and
Yeah, HBO Max is like one of the fancy ones in my eyes.
What is it? Because Meg. No, it's Meg saying like, you guys always act like you're better than me in the
Yeah,
suits or
there
whatever.
you go.
That's good. No, I definitely put HBO Max because HBO Max just has so much shit. It has DC stuff, like Warner Brothers movies, fucking
Game of
Cartoon Network,
Thrones.
Adult Swim. Like they have so
Original
much
But
programming.
quality though.
Yeah.
Like it's
Exactly.
quality.
good budget, good quality. I mean, there's another show on there called Barry. I love that show.
No, yes.
Barry is good. Have you
Yes.
seen Barry?
No.
No, 10 out of 10 show, bro. Yeah, if you guys
I
are
love the character though, the actor.
not to
Yeah,
go on a
right.
long tangent, but yeah,
Good
guys, Barry is a 10 out of 10 show that is definitely worth your time.
It is. It
Fantastic.
is. It's a great comedy and it's very well written and a lot of great character development.
Yeah, dark comedy
Bill
when it's
Hader-
done well.
Bill Hader is more or less a creator. Like he kind of made this show,
Yeah.
And he literally like makes it too. Like he just gives you a reason to keep watching because he does really good in this show, acting wise for sure.
Yeah, I believe he's the producer. He's directed a few
He's
episodes.
directed. I'm pretty sure he's written
Yeah.
episodes too. Like I'm pretty sure he's a co-creator.
Yeah, no, he is heavily involved in
Yeah.
this project. Yeah, Barry is very, very fucking awesome. Like it's up there with like some of my. I give it a 10 out of 10. Like
It's a good show.
I watched it again with Molly because it's like I love shows now because it's like 3 seasons, 8 episodes each, and they're all like 25 minutes long.
They're not
30
long.
minutes.
They get
So-
straight to the point and
Yes.
they don't drag on.
They're fucking tight, like straight to the point. Unlike this fucking shit, Jurassic
Yeah.
World Dominion.
God.
Sorry, I'll get a long
Yeah.
segue back us in. But yeah,
We didn't like this movie, so we keep trying to.
there's
Not
more
talk
interesting
about it.
shit to talk about.
Way more interesting.
So I mean, at that point, then is there anything else we want to say, or are we done with this one?
Yeah, it's bad. There's nothing more else that I want to say. Like, yeah, there's probably more shit we could talk about, but you guys get the basic gist. We don't like it. It's really bad. I mean, it is kind of funny bad. I'll give it that. I mean, I did find some entertainment value in that sense, but it's crazy that like after watching this one, it's like, damn, like it makes the previous one look like a fucking Oscar movie. Like
that
Jesus.
Disney Bugs Bunny bullshit with that Dominus Raptor,
Yeah.
Indoraptor.
Yeah,
That was dumb as shit.
it was very dumb.
But yeah. Yeah, I'm ready to get into ratings right now, and then we can move on to
Yeah,
the
let's
next
fucking
video.
trash this shit already.
Yeah, let's get over it. Let's throw in the trash, burn the trash can, throw the trash can in a dumpster, blow up the dumpster. Let's just get this over with.
Yeah, I'm gonna. Yeah, it's not good. The acting was very poor, along with the writing. The special effects are the only thing that's, I guess, good. But yeah, even then, it's not like you could polish a turd to make it any better. Yeah, at the end of the day, it's still a turd. So, yeah, yeah. Currently, I don't really have much anything else of positive to say about it, other than it's kind of laughably bad in that sense. So there's some entertainment value there. I don't think it's like 1 out of 10 story, but it's a little bit above that. I'll give it a 2 out of 10. What about you, Andrew? What do you think?
Yeah, I'm gonna just 2 out of 10. I just want to stop talking about this.
Rico?
All right, so I so desperately want to give this movie a 1 out of 10 just because it was the worst movie experience I've ever had. Not only what was on the screen, but what was also going on around me with little kids like screaming, talking, and then like a dad like on the phone during the movie, and then just like hella trash all over the fucking theater, dude. It was the absolute worst fucking experience I've ever had. Holiday cinema over in Stockton, California. Never been to this place before.
My stomping grounds, oh boy.
I'm never going back there, dude. It
No,
was
dude,
so
don't.
bad. If someone opens the door, the light from the outside glares the entire screen. I was like, bro,
it's like all the worst qualities of old school theaters.
oh my god, it was so bad. But I want to be nice and say I'll give it a 2 because some of the special effects look okay. If you compare that to like other movies, I feel like they didn't put as much work into it as they did before. And then some of the dinosaurs look like they have more like humanistic characteristics where they can be more expressive in the face.
Yeah.
Yeah, that and along spliced with the action sequences that they're trying to inject here, like compared to like the first Jurassic Park,
Yeah.
where it's like a lot of it was in the dark, so it hid the special effects like perfectly.
Yeah.
This is just like, yeah, it has a weird quality to it where it's like, yeah,
I'm gonna say
I don't-
fuck it. I'm gonna give it a 1 just because I hated this movie.
There you
I
go.
hated it. I found no enjoyment. I'm sorry.
No.
And I love Jurassic Park. I love dinosaurs. I love them. I know their actual like names and shit of like each dinosaur that were in the movie, but I'm just like when they had the Deinonychus, I was like hella about that shit. But then like it was just so bad. I can't like it at all.
Mm-hmm.
It made me feel like a loser for liking dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Those are our ratings. So,
All
shall we
right.
get to your recommend.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's move on to my recommended movie, which is 2022's. It came out earlier this
Yeah,
year.
yeah,
It came out this year. Yeah, 2022's Alex Garland's film Men. Yeah, I recommended this movie for a multitude of reasons. I am a horror guy. I am the horror aficionado of the group, I'd like to view myself as. Rico is the special effects guy, while our homie Andrew over here is the comic book guy. So we all have our own niches. Mine is just horror, sci-fi, and that's just everything that Alex Garland encompasses. So like he's definitely one of my newer favorite directors. So yeah, I recommended Man because it's a very interesting movie to me, and it definitely, even if you don't love it, I definitely still think it would incite interesting conversation. So yeah, Men. I will pull up the cast real quick just so I can get her name, but one sec, guys.
I will say that with Men, I went into it with no expectations. I didn't even watch like a trailer on it. It sets itself up pretty damn good.
Mhm.
Like I felt like, oh yeah, it's an emotional roller coaster. I can see that. Did you get the cast on that one?
Yes, I just want to say it stars Jessie Buckley, who plays our character Harper, who's going to be our main protagonist in the movie. She just okay. Let me just full on say full spoiler discussion. Just gonna get that out right out of the bat. Yeah, she just got out of a really bad relationship slash marriage, and it ends pretty tragic, but also pretty deserving in some ways. We'll get into that later. Yeah, and she's quite traumatized, and she's going on a retreat, and I believe it says the English countryside, and she's going on a solo vacation to kind of clear her head and kind of just get away from it all. And as she's there, she encounters multiple types of men that it is clearly trying to, say that, there's a lot of toxic masculinity here, and it's kind of exploring every type of toxicity that comes with that, like whether it be through like religion, whether it be through, cops, law, religion, there's a lot of stuff that the movie's trying to say, and I'll just come out right out of the bat and say that like I didn't love this movie at first when I first initially watched it, but it definitely stuck with me. Like it's definitely something I wanted to watch again. There was definitely like enough there for me to latch onto that I liked enough that I wanted to go back and rewatch it. I'm like, okay, I don't understand everything at first, but I know there's enough here that this artist, Alex Garland, he's trying to say something. Like that's, there's definitely something there that wants to like keep bringing me back. And, I've since I first recommended it, I've watched it 4.5 times. And yeah, so definitely each time it's gotten a little better for me. So like
Matt says he loves Alex Garland. Can you blame him?
yeah. Yeah, so I found an excuse each time to watch it. Second time I watched it with my girlfriend. Third time I had a new TV. And okay, actually no, my 3.5 times because the half time was watching it with Rico yesterday.
Just last night.
Yeah.
But yeah,
And we saw it together the first time.
yeah, that was the first time.
Yeah, the first time was me and you watching it together.
So yeah, I have a pretty good grasp on this movie, and yeah, a lot of those problems that I had initially at first just weren't present in each of my rewatches. I found more appreciation than I have, like if a movie gets better over time, that to me is just a great quality. Like this is a movie that's gotten better each watch I've seen it. It was very jarring at first, don't get me wrong. Like we'll get into why later, but yeah, like I said, it left an imprint on me, and I really enjoyed it. And yeah, I'm dying to hear what you guys have to say about it. I kind of went on a tangent there, but
No,
Yeah,
you gave the summary of the movie. That was
you
pretty good.
pretty much broke it down without
Yeah.
really. Honestly, it's kind of like you didn't really spoil the movie, like with that.
Yeah, that was a very
you just
good-
kind of like just
Yeah.
made it. You said what was going on in it, and you kind of alluded to the themes of the movie, but it wasn't like you spoiled anything.
yes,
It's like
Yeah.
it's not like
Bunch of
Jack
lies, bunch of
fucked
lies,
over
gentlemen.
Jane by
Yeah,
throwing all
yeah,
his
no,
money into the
exactly,
river
exactly.
that her mom
Yeah.
wanted to save up. Like
I definitely enjoyed the movie for sure. Like I don't hate it, but I was also like Matt was there with me when I was watching this movie. I was just kind of like, huh, that's a lot to process. Like it's not like it's a bad movie by any means because I think a lot of the themes, like one of the themes I want to like talk about is the concept of like death and rebirth. They touch upon that a lot in this movie.
yeah,
Like a lot of it with the cinematography, just the writing, kind of like what Harper specifically is going through. Like it's a lot of really cool themes with life and death. Like I liked this one shot specifically, and I remember how much I liked it after because we watched it. Me and Matt started watching the ending half with Rico because he had started it before we met up.
Yeah.
So we got to this part where it's just like that shot of like the dead deer, the deer carcass,
Mhm.
Or goat.
and then how it just or was it a goat? What was it?
It was a deer carcass, and then the camera goes into the eye.
Yeah, there we go.
Little
Like the
pollen.
camera goes into the eye and everything, and it comes back out, and then the carcass is all
It's more decayed.
Decomposed.
Yeah.
and like there's like maggots everywhere and everything, and I was just like, okay, so that's an obvious symbolism for life and death. So I liked how they were kind of doing that, and then that one scene towards the end is definitely an example of rebirth,
Mhm.
so or like a theme of rebirth. But what did you think, Rico? What did you feel about it?
So with me, I gotta say this is like one of the most like beautiful looking movies I've seen, and apparently I didn't even get the full effect of it because of the TV.
Yeah. That's one thing we have to mention. Like I watched it recently on a new OLED TV, and then I watched it over here with Rico on I believe it's just like an LG type of TV.
Basically, Rico has a shitty TV, is what man. No, can't do that.
It's not my TV. It's a TV
Yeah.
that is in my home.
I definitely got but if Rico's already saying it's good now, like I really
Yeah.
want him to experience it on like a really good TV because like from a visual standpoint, cinematography, how this looks, it's beautiful. Like the colors are just oozing off the screen in this movie.
Yeah, in the final act, there's a lot of like black space in it, and it was kind of hard to see it all. And there's like a part where they show the sky, and then it's all the stars. But on my TV, it just didn't look like it was very vibrant. And apparently, that was like a very beautiful shot if you watch it on a higher quality TV or something. Or I really wish I would have seen that in theaters.
Yeah.
That
Yeah, because I remember, because I know we watched it in theaters, and like that sky shot where it shows like the whole like universe, and she's like looking up at the stars, and then Jeffrey starts chasing her in the car. Like I was like, oh, this looks gorgeous.
Like, dude, I could definitely feel it. Me and Matt were watching it, and we were both. It's almost like we were looking up with her. Like, wow, that's beautiful.
No, yeah,
Like,
it
it looks really good.
I was like, damn.
This is how strongly they felt about that. So once the movie ended, the very first thing that came out of Matt's mouth was, "Man, your TV fucking sucks." Not
It's paraphrasing, but
paraphrasing and a little bit of a hyperbole there, but he's like, "Man, you missed out on so much." But honestly, throughout the entire movie, I was really astounded by how like the cinematography on it. It's very artsy. Like it's very like some of it you just feel like there should be more of a purpose, but how much like focus they're putting onto it, and then you can kind of like extrapolate from that and just say like, oh yeah, this could be this and this could be that. And there's just a lot of like beautiful scenes in it. And then what I liked about it, every time they showed something beautiful, they ended it by showing something like that kind of just ruins it. It tarnishes it. It's just like throwing a big pile of shit on like something so like a masterpiece. And it's like I love that.
And I love that too because like I love how that's like a theme in the movie
Yeah,
too because
it
every
is.
single time
Yep.
she finds like a little bit of levity.
Mhm.
Like that scene where she's like, because you saw it earlier in the movie where she goes through the tunnel and she's doing the ha ha.
That was cool. That was
Yeah, right. That was a really great.
that's
That's great sound editing on their
That's my favorite scene in the movie.
And I love that it's a
That's
song
amazing.
that's used throughout the movie.
Yeah.
Harper's song. I was like, okay.
Oh, is that the name of
really
it?
cool. Well, it shows up on the subtitles as like Harper's song or something like
That's
that.
probably what it's actually called. Then that's cool.
That's awesome.
That is
Oh.
very cool.
But yeah, the point I was trying to make though, like after she's doing that, it's interrupted by this guy who just pops up out of nowhere,
Mhm.
and it's interrupted by like this screech, like the.
That was
I won't even
dark.
try to. I won't try to recreate it, but it's like. Yeah, it's just a really like horrible screech that just goes through Harper's song, and it's just like cuts right through it, and it's just like, all right, every time she gets like a little bit of levity, there's just something
Mhm.
there to just interrupt it, and it's always like, you know, a man. the same as a man.
Like I find that whole topic very interesting because in a way it's not even that like you could defend what the men in the movie are saying, but you understand why they're saying it. Like for
Yeah.
example, when the scene where she's talking to the priest,
Oh,
I
the
found
finger?
it.
Yeah.
I found it very interesting that he was sort of like trying to defend her ex.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just kind of
You drove
like,
him to it.
yeah, like when we didn't mention that, did we?
Well, because yeah.
No, just like what happens to the ex, right? We didn't mention it yet.
Okay.
We probably should.
We
so-
should.
Yeah,
So we
let's
can get
touch on
full
that right now
spoilers.
before we get into the scene
Yeah,
with the
so,
priest.
Full spoils.
Yep, here we go. We're in spoiler territory now, guys. So you find out this whole tragic thing that Harper went through was that she witnessed her ex-husband?
Yeah.
Ex-husband, because they were getting a divorce, right? They were getting a divorce.
She wanted a divorce.
And the ex-husband fucking lost it.
Mm-hmm.
And like apparently, like I remember, was it like he hit her or something, right? Or
Punch her
pushed her?
right in the face.
Yeah, there we go. He punched. I remember watching that theater. I went, oh, and like it's just like because it's like it's not even that they're not building up to it. It's just unexpected when he hit her, and then after he goes crazy, he had jumped off their what is it called, their balcony, right?
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
It's like the roof or
Mhm.
what. I don't
Yeah.
know what it was.
Or he
Well,
was
they-
climbing something. No, he got
I'll go
kicked
into
out.
it.
He got kicked out, right? And then
No,
started-
yeah,
He went up. And
yeah.
He kicked him out, and then like when she's explaining to the priest, she's telling him like kind of like what she's been telling herself, kind of like she doesn't know whether he was trying to get into the apartment or slipped. But like you can interpret that as her telling herself, like, you know, she wants to tell herself that like he was trying to get in. I don't think she wants to admit to herself that like, okay, yeah, he killed himself. And
So,
Mhm.
real quick before we move on to that, I do want to see what your guys' opinions on that. Do you think he jumped off or like he slipped?
Mhm.
It's tough to say because like, okay, so yeah, just to get back to the whole scene where, you know, he hits her and whatnot. Before that, he does say that he'll kill himself.
Yeah.
Before, you know, like if she divorces him, his death, his suicide will be on her, which is like another theme of the movie. Like all these men
Manipulation.
find a way to blame her
Blame the woman.
for like them like abusing her,
Yeah.
in a way. And so like that's another thing where it's like he's manipulating her to make her feel trapped in this relationship, and you know, and she's like, you know, that is exactly the reason we can't be together. And then, you know, things escalate, and then she goes downstairs through her phone. He tries to confront her. He can't unlock the phone, and then he gets upset, and then he hits her, and then she kicks him out, and then yeah, now we're caught up to the scene where yeah, she's telling herself that maybe he tried to get inside, or you know, maybe he did kill himself.
Yeah.
You don't really know. It is like a little ambiguous, but it also is, you know, kind of like left for you decide whatever happens.
Interpretation.
Yeah.
Point being, he still died,
Mhm.
and yeah, it's pretty brutal. Like
It
you
is.
don't obviously see the impacts, but you see the end result of what happened, and yeah, homeboy looked really messed up. Yeah, like
If anybody saw their ex like mutilated like that, yeah,
It'd be traumatizing.
it's gonna fuck you up. Whether you ended on good terms, bad terms, that's gonna fuck you up regardless. So I
Like
like,
someone that you spend time with.
yeah, it's not to be taken lightly, and I like how she literally does it. She doesn't like try to ignore that he's dead or anything, but more of like she's just trying to accept it at this point, which is
Yeah.
something I really liked about her character, like what she was going through. It's very, very well written.
What I would say is that, going back to the falling scene, I'm going to say that he slipped because he was facing inwards.
Oh,
Because I feel like if you jump off, you're going to be like going like this
Mm.
or like facing out or at least nose diving. The way he felt, it looked like he lost his footing. It was like climbing down, you know?
yeah, that is a good detail to bring up, because like she does bring up when she's talking to the priest, like I felt like he saw me. And
Mhm.
like there was like a brief second where like they locked eyes for like a brief second while he's
Or-
falling.
what if? Because I'm just saying he was a manipulator, right?
Oh.
What if he intentionally made it look like he slipped to fuck with her more?
That's also that's
something
definitely another way to
I
look
wouldn't
at
put
it.
it beneath the guy. I mean, if he's like already threatening to kill himself to make her feel like shit, why wouldn't he do something like that?
Yeah.
Well, because he's already like he wants to make her feel as you know the
Miserable.
Yeah.
worst. Yeah, exactly.
What he was describing was he wanted it to be a revenge suicide so that
Mhm.
he would always like haunt her if she left him.
And it
So that
does.
she can never leave him, you know?
Yeah.
And it works, but it's fucked up.
Fucked up, but that was his whole end game. So that's why I like how he leaves it up to interpretation in this movie, Alex Garland. I think it's very it's cool. You can decide, did he slip or did he do it intentionally? Like
Mhm.
at that point, that either elevates the story for you or it doesn't. And it's just up to you at that point.
I mean, hearing you guys talk about it kind of makes me like put it that way in my head now. Like
Mhm.
I do believe kind of what you're saying. Like that's a good point to bring up because like he was in a position of like it looked like he was trying to climb down.
Yeah.
Like that's a good point. And then like I like your point too, where it's like he intentionally was like trying to maybe see her.
It
And
could
it's
go
not,
either way.
but it's not like he could possibly, predict that she
would get
be
that.
looking.
Yeah.
Or like
too.
even then, like
that
he couldn't-
was kind
he
of his
could,
goal.
but he also couldn't predict that he'd be so mangled after doing that it would fuck her up. Like he knew it would fuck her up, but like the way he looks,
The way he landed.
the way he landed, that's fucked up. Like there's no way he could have calculated that.
Yeah, he
specifically.
essentially lands on like a spiked railing.
Oof.
Yeah, one of the rails goes through his arm,
Mhm.
and his organs
Turns
were
down like right
crushed.
down the middle of
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, he breaks both of his ankles.
Yeah,
His
that's
organs get
gross.
crushed. Yeah, I mean, we'll get into it later, but
Yeah.
that is one thing I wanted to touch on since we kind of segued back to it. I was curious to know what you thought about some of the practical effects in that shot. Like, what did you think of the
Fucking
body?
loved it, dude. That was gruesome.
The towards the end with the hand. That,
Well,
No, in the beginning.
No, that
when they
specifically
show
his death
when they
scene.
show his.
oh yeah, that was great. That was really
Yeah.
really well done. Really well done, practical. And like that's like that one you could be like, oh no, that's definitely practical for sure.
Yeah.
Maybe they touched up like a little with CGI, but that's
What I was
more or less
thinking was
practical.
that they did a CGI. Maybe they put in like the spike above his hand, so
Oh
that he
right,
should see
right. When
this
he's like hanging.
to make
Yeah.
it seem like it's going through. But I mean, other than that, like all of the effects that they had on his body, like I was like, fuck.
It's pretty dope. Honestly.
Yeah, very mangled. It
Very.
definitely sticks with you.
Not a pretty death.
Mhm.
That looked terrible.
Not at all.
And yeah, it's that's another theme of the movie too. Like it is something that sticks with her even when she goes on this retreat. Like it's always going to be like a constant reminder to
Mhm.
her. And yeah.
So let's get into the retreat aspect of the movie now, which
Yeah,
is actually in the
let's do
little
that.
village. I found it very interesting, and it was totally, you can tell it was intentional that Alex Garland cast the same actor to play every man in that village.
Yeah,
It was
yeah,
all,
wait,
it was
what?
all the same actor.
yeah. Jeffrey plays a lot of. He doesn't play every single one, but he plays.
Because I remember him from Black Mirror. That's when I first saw him.
No fucking
Well,
way.
yeah,
Yeah, why
look
that
up right
little
now.
kid looks hella old.
Yeah, that's
that was him.
Jeffrey.
That's
actor.
funny. That kid looks so old.
Yeah, Jeffrey plays
I
a
was
few
gonna
of them.
say
He
that
plays
too.
that, the priest, Jeffrey,
Rory
and then-
Keener.
Yeah.
Keener?
I'm
Shit.
curious to see. How
He was in
many-
Black Mirror, but I don't know what else he's been in.
Okay, IMDb doesn't really show all the ones he played.
But he pretty much played every man in the village. He played the priest, the bartender, the cop, the naked guy. He played the kid. Like, he played all of them.
That little kid was so creepy to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like that, and that explains why. Because I was like, dude, this guy looks like this little 14-year-old kid looks like he's like old as shit. I
fucking
was
creep, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, they were all played by the same guy, and at least I think I know that was very intentional on Alex Garland's part
Oh,
to sort of
definitely.
like for that argument where women say that all men are literally the same,
Mm-hmm.
but they're all just wearing different clothing.
Yeah, because the only interaction she has with a woman is through her iPhone and the
The
chick
police
officer.
lady,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. The only two interactions, and then
It's supportive.
yeah, it's slightly supportive, but like every other like scene is with a man,
Mhm.
and like even when she goes to the pub, every dude in there is a man. Everybody she encounters when she goes out is a man.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
Oh,
like,
even what was it that the bar guest was him too? Same actor.
Hold up.
Yeah.
Jeffrey.
Yeah.
What's his name?
yeah, it's Jeffrey.
Rory Kenner or Keener.
Rory Keener.
Yeah.
Did I see his dick in this movie?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, you mean the freaking
The full frontal nudity, dude.
Mm-hmm.
maybe?
That was him.
Wow.
Same actor.
Well, I think.
No,
let
it's
me
him.
Google that.
It's him. Literally,
Holy shit.
it's him. He does all those roles.
Rory's got a cock.
Rory's got a fat cack.
He's got a length on him.
Uh-huh.
He's got that girth.
Mm-hmm.
He knows what he's worth.
Oh, yeah. Rory Keener, more like Rory Cockner.
Going forth.
But yeah, I'm pretty sure he played that naked guy, too.
Yeah, he's Jeffrey, the owner of the holiday house Harper rents. Kenya also portrays the numerous men in the village that Harper visits, such as the naked man, Vicar, the pub owner, the police officer, Samuel's face, and the two pub patrons. So he's even the guy.
What did I literally just said that.
Hey, we need confirmation.
Hey, you're making it seem like you watched the end credits or did research outside.
No, I just recognized him. I was like, that's the same
Oh,
guy.
you guessed that? You
That's the same guy.
Oh,
like
sure.
they were the same actor.
Well, man, I picked up that he was like the priest and the boy, but like
Yeah.
I wasn't sure that he was like all of them.
He was all of them.
That's
Every
crazy.
single man. Again, the whole point. All men are the same.
Men are the same.
Mm-hmm.
Which I feel like
Well,
is a little bit of a.
I don't think-
We'll go into that.
We'll touch upon that.
Well, I don't think he's trying to say all men are the same because
I kinda feel like it is,
Jeffrey is the
It
only
is.
decent one though.
Is he though?
Jeffrey.
Well, because like okay, so like each of them do kind of like represent like something. Like law enforcement isn't helping her with the officer, but religion doesn't help her, or like the kid like troubled youth or whatever. And like okay, what are they trying to say with Jeffrey?
That he's a pussy.
Well, with Jeffrey.
No, I'm
it's
not
kinda
even like. Not
the
even funny like
chivalry.
that.
That is true because that's
He's like-
something they touch on. Like
He's
oh,
a coward.
because there's something like that his father said to him. It's
You
like
are
a
you are a failed attempt.
at
of
a military man or something like
And
that.
then she looked at him like, "What?" He's like, "My father told me that."
When I was 7.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically implying that he's like a pussy. Like
I
he
also-
has no balls or whatever.
I also feel like they kind of allude to him trying to like start something up.
No,
with her
yeah, no,
in
I
the
picked up on
pub.
that too. I
Yeah.
picked up on that too.
Yeah, in the
Yeah,
pub.
But he's no good here. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's no good. No,
Being
great.
very, like I was just like, dude, this guy's a creep.
Yeah,
I was
exactly.
Like, I really got that feeling.
No,
from him. I was like,
definitely,
oh,
definitely.
God.
He's like a creep and he's a pussy. Like,
Yeah.
that's just what he is. And
I
like,
mean, he tries at
he
least.
tried. Yeah, I'm not.
There are like in the beginning when he's first introduced into the house, there are a few like awkward kind of like how do I describe it?
Interaction.
Like
It's just
weird social cues
yeah.
where he's kind of like waiting for like something else to be said.
Yeah.
Like when he's about to leave, like that's actually like a good point now that you guys are mentioning it. Where like right before he leaves, there is like a few seconds where like he pauses, where he's kind of like waiting for her to like maybe say something. And so okay, there's also another detail that I picked up along the way too that I picked up on like my second and third viewing, because she doesn't feel comfortable with Jeffrey still, like
Yeah.
or any type
At all.
of
Yeah.
I picked that
Because
up on my first one. Like,
yeah,
I-
'cause-
I've only watched it once, but yeah.
Yeah, because she even lies to him, like, oh, like, he asked her, like, oh, like, hey, do you play the piano? And she's like, oh, no, I don't. But then, like, later on, she's playing the piano.
And then tell
So-
my sister, yeah, I play the piano.
Mhm.
But it's something like, just like that, like, an insignificant detail. Like, even though, like, it doesn't, like, matter in, like, the grand scheme
Yeah,
of things,
but it
he's
matters.
still uncomfortable
Yeah.
just revealing any type of information like that to any kind of
She doesn't want to get
Yeah.
intimate or anything.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. Which is like completely understandable given what she just went through before coming to the village.
yeah.
So it's kind of like it makes sense why she's very reserved and has a wall around her, around all these men, because it's just that's just what she needs to do right now. She needs to self isolate. She doesn't
Mhm.
want to open a new book when she just closed her first one.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I also find it interesting that at the end too, where like the whole Miss Marlowe, Mrs. Marlowe thing, like at the end where he pulls her out of the car, he's like Miss Marlowe, Mrs. Marlowe,
Yeah.
like heavily emphasizing it that time too, and I'm like, okay, like
Mhm.
yeah, you freaking Jeffrey is for sure like like agree
Yeah.
by the end of it in this sense, but yeah. Every time I watch this movie, it's like I said, it's gotten better in my opinion, and freaking yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. I
And
just
think
I love
think
it so much.
And I also just to tread back to the whole all the men are the same because they're played by the same actor. I also think it was intentional because I think whenever someone goes through a breakup, whether you're a man, woman, trans, non-binary, whatever you are, like you're gonna perceive whatever gender you're into as all the same after you get out of a breakup because you're like you're not in the mood, you don't want to reconnect, you don't want to start something new. So you want to keep yourself isolated. So you look at everybody and perceive them all as the same. Like, oh, you're no different than this person. You're no
Yeah.
different than them. You're no different. Like you're exactly the same. And I don't want anything to do with you. And you'll have that mentality after a breakup. I think sometimes. I don't know if it's the same for everybody, but it's a mentality that could develop, especially with Harper's case because she just went through something so traumatic as well.
Mhm.
On top of having an abusive boyfriend who was very toxic and manipulative, and then he kills him, and then he dies right after. Like that's a lot to take in. So obviously you're gonna want to be closed off from people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in like for instance, like with every time she like meets a man in this movie, it's always like their worst like
Mhm.
personality traits on display. And it's like saying that it's all the same, like men are all the same, but really she's only looking at the negative traits that her ex had,
Yeah.
which essentially the thing culminates from the naked person, then that whole scene, we'll get into that in a second, but
Mhm.
and then it ends out being just her ex that sits next to her, and then like
Yeah.
so she's seeing all these terrible qualities that she saw in her ex, and it just leads every single man to be grouped up to be this one person that she had a bad interaction with.
Exactly. Yep.
So it's like, but do you guys want to talk about that scene though?
Yeah, we probably should.
Yeah, we can just cut right into the cake here and freaking like this movie definitely has a scene and like freaking I don't know like there. I mean, recently
We
like
should over the build up first though, right? With the naked man with the green face, and then talk about that scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
because,
can.
because everything with that one specifically builds up to that final scene.
Mhm.
So in the movie, there's he's also played by Rory Keener. It's like this strange naked man who has like twigs and leaves all over his face, and then there's and he has little cuts because you see later on in the film that he actually takes it's like a razor blade, right?
Yeah.
He takes a razor blade, cuts open a hole in it, like a slit in his face, and he sticks like leaves and branches and stuff on his face. And we were talking about it with Rico's roommate the other night,
Yeah.
because he watched it with us, and he brought up how that was sort of that symbolism within Greek mythology. He said, right?
Bacchus.
Yeah, Bacchus. It's like he represents fertility, life, nature, all that kind of stuff, and that's one of the themes within this movie too, especially with Harper's, romantic relationship and stuff like that. Touch upon the concept of fertility. So that character is there constantly, just watching her.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember, what was it, that scene we were talking about too, where he's like watching her while she's in the
Yeah.
Airbnb or whatever.
Yeah.
Like he's not even realizing he's there. He's just staring, watching in the background. So I thought that was really cool, and it was cool. It's also important to mention it because later on when we get to that final scene, which I'll let Matt talk about because this was his recommend. So
Yeah.
I think it's important that you get to bring it up, but just to kind of fill in the blanks to who that naked man was throughout the movie. All you, Matt.
Okay, so leading up to the scene.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so yeah, we get to quite a pretty intense scene where it kind of culminates into Harper is stuck in the house, and yeah, we start to see Jeffrey shows up, and we get like a few little things that happen before.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
freaking a bird breaks into the goes through the glass door or whatever. Jeffrey shows up, and then it is quickly established after that like, okay, like Jeffrey is like the personification of all these men because like he disappears when the lights go off, and then you see the green man appear. And so shortly after that we get quite possibly like this generation's like kind of like that scene. Like it's definitely up there with like kind of like Terrifier. Antichrist is another one that comes to mind. Martyrs. It's definitely up there in terms of like crazy shit that'll stick with you.
Yeah.
So we get a pretty intense kind of male birth scene, and we don't just get one, we get multiple.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the first one is coming out of the anus at first, and then I believe the one that comes out of that, I believe it's the boy. I'm not sure.
I think it's the belly. Or no, yeah, you're right. It's the boy.
Well, the one coming out of the asshole. Like I don't know which one. I think it's the boy that comes
It's
out
the boy.
first,
Yeah.
and then
Oh,
he
that's
screams, and then he goes on his back, and then that next one comes out of his stomach, and then the third one I believe is throughout the spine,
Mm-hmm.
and then I think the last one is the legs coming out of Jeffrey's mouth,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, yeah, these are the kind of special effects that I really am a huge fan of because there's a huge amount of practical effects work, but also CGI, and it to me is like the perfect culmination of the two. Where like the special effects are helping the practical effects. Like it looks fantastic.
It really does.
Mm-hmm.
And like I'm really dying to hear like mostly what Rico has to
Yeah.
say about that because like he's the practical effects guy. But
It's that guy.
but yeah, freaking I loved how it looked. I mean, yeah, like at first like I thought it was really jarring, and I was like, holy shit, like yeah, that stuck with me. I'm definitely gonna remember that. And yeah, every time I've watched it, it's definitely gotten more better. I've gotten more desensitized to it. And I'm like, oh, it's okay.
You know what?
It's just a male bird thing coming out of the asshole. No big deal.
I remember just like when I was watching it, Matt was there with me, and I leaned into Matt and I was like, I swear to God, if he gives birth one more fucking time, like, when are we gonna get to the point?
Yeah.
And not even like to insult Alex Garland, but I felt like it kind of dragged on a bit, but that's mainly because it's supposed to. Like, it's intention. Like, that's how he wanted it to go for that long.
Mhm.
Because just to show how impressive the effects were on that sequence alone was really good. So I just wanted to say that really quick, but I really want to hear what Rico has to say, because he's like our
Jesus
expert.
Christ, you guys are building me up so much. I just take a hobby into it.
It's a hobby. You literally have a YouTube page for this hobby. It's more than a hobby.
You have the good eye for that stuff.
You
so,
do. So please, a great one. Acknowledge us.
So in each of them, they all have like bloating, as if they're like mimicking like the pregnancy, like as if they're in the 9th term, going into like the fucking 18th month term at some points, with how like massive they are, and they all like it kind of seems like it's going down the line with each birth that they have. So it goes from the Green Man, who I feel like is the most jarring, like the most jarring example of like depravity in a man, that could be like just like immediate nudity and like stalking and everything like that, going into the kid who was just a little shit, and then going from the kid to, I think it was Jeffrey, right?
It was, yeah.
the last one?
Yeah. Turning into Jeffrey, just showing like the different types, and it's all the same coming out each time, and ending up with the X, who came out feet first, which was crazy. That was really disgusting to see, like, holy crap. But each one that came out, it was just like, you could see the flesh, like, essentially tearing out. Like, you get a full frontal view of, like, a close-up of the anus one, and then also the junk that is associated with that area. And then also going into the belly button tearing through. It really gave me what's it called, American Werewolf in London vibes, with like the transformation, especially with like the one where it came out of the shoulders. So that one was like, you could see the all of the like shoulder blades separating apart, and then like the flesh just start peeling through, and then it gave me Evil Dead, where the thing came out like this, basically, like, holy shit, dude, like covered in blood and everything. And then but it gave me like so many different like, I just was clipping to all these other like horror things. I
And
was
it's
like,
its own thing too. Like,
Yeah,
you see the
exactly.
inspiration. You're like, you're doing something good with the formula here.
and you would imagine that if you were standing there witnessing all of this take place, that you would be filled with pure terror. However, what's her name? Harper was standing there, and she had just like such a blank expression, because it seemed like she was finally coming to terms with it, and she was
This isn't
like,
gonna escape me. Like, it's
Yeah.
gonna stick with me. It's gonna
Yeah.
follow me.
it's gonna be all of these people. It'll just morph into something else each time. Like, but at the very end of the day, it's still her ex. That's never gonna be like completely away from her. It's gonna be taking in forms like of all these other people that she's gonna meet throughout the rest of her life.
Yeah, and like what he says to her too. Like,
Yeah.
look what you did.
Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah.
Like, wow.
And then she just looks at him, and it's not even like resentment or like pettiness. It's just like,
What do you want from me?
like, just kind of looks at him and just looks away. And I was just like, that's pretty symbolic of like what it's like to get out of a bad relationship. Like, it's just what you're gonna have to deal with for like the rest of your life. Even if it won't be as significant as time passes, it'll still be there. That's the point.
Yeah, you'll still see like little signs, like it, like let's say years down the line, you were in an abusive relationship. Years down the line, you even if they like someone like cocks their hand back, they're not intending to like threaten you or anything. You still get that little immediate flinch, because you'll remember that, and it's like it's gonna carry over. You never really fully get closure from all these types of things, and it kind of does haunt you, like how the vicar said, where he was saying, like, do you feel you are tormented? And Harper replies, no. Then he says, haunted. And then she's like, oh yeah, I am very haunted by that.
Yep.
So it's like, I feel like that was such a that was the scene though. Like, you know, that was such a like,
that was so very symbolic and like very. It's just the culmination of everything this movie is trying to say in one scene. which I think is really great and really strong on Alex Garland's part for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's where I'm like the writing is like so strong here because like
Because he
that's like
also-
something that hasn't been a problem
Yeah,
upon rewatching.
He also wrote it, right?
Yes, I believe so. Like I'll look it up
I
really
think he
quick.
did.
Just to
'Cause
fact
I don't
check.
think he wrote Annihilation. He might have just directed it.
Yes, he wrote it.
He wrote Men.
Oh, he wrote Men completely.
Okay.
That's all him.
What about Annihilation? Did he write that too, or was he just the director?
I believe that was. I think he adapted it. Yeah, because he wrote it for the screen. It's based on a novel by Jeff
Oh.
Vandermeer, and
Gotcha. Okay.
Alex Garland adapted it. Because he mostly writes. He was mostly known as a writer before he became a director. Like
Mhm.
he wrote 28 Weeks Later, 28 Days
No
Later.
way. That's right.
Yeah,
I love that.
Dread. Yep, he did. I love
Freaking-
Dread. Dread is fucking dope.
Yeah, Sunshine. Yeah, he was mostly a writer before he got into directing. His first feature was Ex-Machina, and then it was great, and so then he just kind of stuck with it. And I love his style. I love like the sci-fi horror aspects of his movies, which I really like that this movie was like different compared to his 3 previous works, because his 3 previous works were really heavy sci-fi orientated with like a horror element to it. This is just more going into like leaning way more into the horror aspects with something that actually is scary, fucking men, in the sense that like
In a woman's perspective, very much so.
the way it's set up in this movie,
Yeah.
like, yeah, you totally understand it. And, like, yeah, some of these guys are, like, pretty horrifying in the sense, too. And, yeah, freaking, like I said, upon rewatching, it's gotten more better in my head, especially with, like, these men characters, like, when some of them chase her in some scenes, like, screaming at the top of their lungs.
Mhm.
And, yeah, it's like, damn, yeah, that is pretty horrifying.
Oh, but you know what we're forgetting to talk about?
What's that?
The scene where they're the hand.
Mhm.
We're forgetting to talk about that.
Yeah, that was another scene I wanted to touch on, too.
I was like, we should probably mention it before we forget.
What did you think of that scene, Rico?
Dude, that was so cool. I really hope that it was mainly practical effects, because I can see doing it with like silicone and then going through like that.
Hold
Okay.
slowly.
Do you want to like explain this?
Oh, yeah.
Hey, sorry about that, guys. We ran out of space on our audio, but we're back. We're just gonna splice it at the end of the last recording. But our last talking point is we were talking about the hand scene, which is the setup is basically Harper is trapped in the house. Not trapped in the house, but she notices that the policeman is outside, and she goes outside to investigate, and she's all saying, "Oh, what are you doing out here? Like, did you catch him? Has there been another problem?" And he doesn't say anything. And that's when we start seeing the lights getting tampered with. And, yeah, he disappears. And then we get, I believe it's one of the bar patrons that starts rushing her.
Mm-hmm.
Because we get like, a perspective shot of him running towards her. And he's screaming at the top of his lungs towards her, and she gets rushed inside the house, and she slams the door behind her. And then after that, we get the Green Man, and he shows up, and he sticks his hand through the mail slot, and he sticks his hand out as if, you know, he's reaching for Harper to, like, hold his hand or whatever, and she goes for it.
Oh, with that scene, there's that part where he like blows the pollen in her face, right?
Yeah,
Before
correct.
Oh,
That-
yeah.
Remember, that's another scene I forgot.
that? Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, he blows some pollen in her face, and she retreats in the house, and he sticks his hand through the mail slot, and Harper goes to hold his hand, and he grabs it and starts yanking it. So before that, Harper grabs a knife, and as a response, she stabs him right in the arm.
Right through the forearm between the radius.
Yes.
The, what's the other one? Tibia? That, whatever it is.
One of them.
One of them.
Right in the middle of the
Oh.
arm. And the only way the Green Man can get it off is to pull it all the way through.
Yeah.
And you see every little juicy detail.
Mhm.
And ooh,
Even when it gets stuck right at the wrist.
yeah, yeah,
and
to
it's
force it
still
through.
like, pulling it through.
Yeah, very effective and brutal and memorable scene that definitely stuck with me when I first watched it. It definitely got a reaction out of me, like,
It was definitely one of the highlights of the movie, for sure.
Yeah, it definitely instills that little like sense of like a body cringe when you see it, like, God, dude.
This movie has
Bones
fantastic
through.
body horror.
It does.
And then after that whole sequence too, there's a whole part where the man is like changing, I guess, into like each of the men that have been like
Mhm.
throughout that have been in this movie, and it gets to the point where it's become the priest, and the priest has the hand now, and it's like completely separated down the middle, and there's a part where he grabs Harper, and it's literally like the halves of his hands are like both one half is on top of her shoulder, there's another half on her other shoulder, and it's just like that's good. That is some good visual effects right there.
Yeah, they go
So
sexually assault her.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Yeah.
And with that whole thing too, I really liked. I liked the writing, but the message behind it is what makes you go. Ugh, is when the priest is talking about how Harper has so much control over him because she's a woman. I was just like,
yeah,
that is that's some like petty beta male cuck energy.
Like I
Incel shit.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
I think of you, of all your holes.
Yeah.
This is your power you have over me.
Yeah.
Now you
This is
live
your
rent
fault.
free.
Yeah.
I'm like, Jesus. Okay.
He's like,
yeah.
you're doing this to me. You're making me do this. And I was like,
This is like some like Count Frollo shit from Hunchback of Notre Dame.
oh yeah.
It's exactly that. It's
It is
exactly that.
actually-
He's like,
I love that. That's
hey, this
great.
bitch better burn in hell, or else she's gonna have to marry me.
Mhm.
Like she's doing this
Like,
to me.
so it's like another great theme where it's just like there are men who actually act like that and use that as a justification.
Oh, exactly.
And you're like, like, get away from me.
Yeah, dude.
As a man, I'm like, stay away from me. Keep your beta male cuck energy over there, please. Like, Jesus Christ.
But yeah, I could definitely see some people like, it's, a little too on the nose or extreme with some of those symbolism. I thought it was, done in good taste and freaking, through the lens of this kind of horror movie. I thought it was utilized pretty well throughout, given how we've been talking about it. I mean, I've been sipping over this movie and like, this is my shit, but I mean, is there anything else you guys want to touch on? I mean, I feel like I've gotten a pretty good discussion out of this movie.
Yeah.
You guys
I
wanna get
think
into ratings?
we've got everything pretty much in hand at this point.
Okay. All right, then.
You get the
You
hand.
get a
button.
hand
Like, get the hand. button.
taking a quick little video of him rubbing my cat.
Hey, Alice the Catalyst is the homie, alright? I was like, it's okay, they're not paying attention, we're just talking, I'm recording. I look over, I see Rico looking at me like,
Watching.
Yeah, Rico's cat has been quite a distraction in the best way possible.
Yeah.
He's a good boy.
Alice is the homie. He's one of the boys. He's one of the boys.
He's just like, no, go ahead, do your podcast. Go ahead. Don't
I'm
mind
here.
me.
He's like, if you could just pet me every so often while you're recording, that'd be great.
He did stop getting on the table. Yeah,
Yeah.
good boy.
Good.
He's a good kitty.
But
Okay,
yeah.
I think
Anyways.
we're good, right? We got everything. We said everything we wanted to say.
Yeah. Yeah.
Get into ratings.
Yes,
Let's do
sir.
it. Do you want to go last, Matt? Since this was yours.
Yeah. Actually, I'll go first.
Yeah.
We'll do
Sounds
that.
good. We'll go around.
Okay. To be honest, can I go first? Because I'm
Hey,
curious.
fuck it, man.
Only because like I'm curious to hear your guys' ratings. Because
Alright,
like
yeah.
I know I'm gonna rate this high, so like
Yeah.
I'm curious to hear your guys' ratings. Yeah, so like like I've said, I mean I love this movie. It's gotten better upon a rewatch, which not a lot of movies can do for me. It's definitely one of those movies where like I watch it, I pick up on more details, more symbolism. Like this recent watch, like I wasn't really too much aware of the Green Man because I didn't really look up any YouTube videos or any explanations after this. I've solely just been talking with my buddies about this movie, and this recent watch, our buddy Joseph watched it with us. He brought up the Green Man reference, and that was a whole nother facet of the movie that made it interesting to me. So, like I said, to me, all the great movies like inspire rewatch and push the boundaries in some way. Like, yeah, it was very jarring to me at first, but upon rewatches, like it didn't become a problem for me. It got better. Like more details I picked up on. There was another layer of enjoyment there for me. So, yeah, the acting is great here. The symbolism is great here. The acting, writing, the visual effects, the practical effects, the cinematography is gorgeous. Like I think this movie is perfect from a visual standpoint. Like, yeah, I can't give this movie enough praise. Like Alex Garland is for sure one of my favorite directors. Like he is solidified as that. I want him to make more stuff, but out of his 4 directed projects, this is of the same quality. I don't know. I don't know how I would rank them. I still think Annihilation's my favorite, but I would put this on like the same level as like Ex-Machina and Devs. I might like those a little bit more, but yeah, I love I love Men. I love the message. I love how different this art piece is. I love how unique it is. It sticks with you. And yeah, it's definitely memorable. Yeah, I'm going high on this one. I'm gonna give it a. Well, actually, one thing I wanted to mention too. Like when I first watched this movie, I gave it like a 7 out of 10. Like I was not feeling it for sure. It was my least favorite Alex Garland film. Now I would put it up there with on equal grounds as the other ones. So I would give it a 9 now. I would go up a whole 2 points for my first watch. So yeah, I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10. So Andrew, Rico, whoever wants to go next.
You can go first.
Okay. Well, I definitely like this movie a lot more. Now, not only did when we watched it with Rico and Joseph last night, but also like as we're talking about it more and more, how we're bringing up more of the themes and messaging that was kind of already in my brain, but now that I'm vocalizing it, it helps me appreciate the movie more. So, I also want to commend Alex Garland for pushing the boundaries, not just with his writing, but the visual effects. It's really like pushing how far you could go with stuff like this, kind of like what Terrifier does too, kind of like pushing the boundaries of special effects and what you can show on screen and like what is like and doing it in a tasteful way. So I think I'm gonna give this one probably like I give it like an 8 out of 10. I enjoyed it thoroughly. I'm only giving it an 8 just because I feel like from my first rewatch, it was harder to understand. And I guess, sometimes you can praise the movie for having rewatchability, but, looking at it with a general audience point of view, this would turn a lot of people away from Alex Garland. This movie specifically would. Because some people would consider it too politically confrontational, like there's too many like people will say, "Oh, you're a liberal."
All men are misogynistic.
Yeah, and like
it
that's
kind of generalized.
that's it generalized, and it kind of in a way alienates an entire audience in a way.
Mm-hmm.
For me personally, I don't.
No, I can see
didn't
that.
care. I didn't
Very
care. I'm
much
kind
so,
of like
yeah.
I'm interested in these kinds of conversations, which is why I love like the Boys TV show because it's like it's addressing a lot of shit like that. So I like when shows and movies address these kinds of topics and they do it in a tasteful way, like Alex Garland did. But I do knock it down here because I wanted to enjoy the movie more, but I mean, don't get me wrong, it doesn't mean I didn't like it all. I loved it. That's why I'm giving it an 8 out of 10 because it's still a really good movie and I think it's worth at least 1 or 2 watches to fully understand it. But because you need to watch it more than once to understand it, I think that knocks it down for me a little bit. Because when other movies like The Lighthouse do it, it's kind of intentional from the start that The Lighthouse is like one of those movies you're not going to understand the first time around. With Men, you could watch it and it feels like in a way you're supposed to get what happened throughout the movie. Even though you don't.
Yeah.
Maybe that wasn't how Alex Garland intended it to be. Maybe he meant to do it like The Lighthouse, where you're not supposed to understand what's going on. So that's why it was a little more confusing for me, which is weird for me because, I feel like the Men and Lighthouse are very similar in that regard. But I found myself enjoying The Lighthouse more than I did with Men. So that's why I'm giving Men like an 8.
Yeah. So initially, I was bordering on 7 and 8, but I feel like I'm strongly on 8 right now, just because I really enjoyed the movie. I really did. There's a lot of like visuals in this movie that are just like gorgeous, and then it's like a running theme where they just gotta ruin it in some way, and like it's an intentional ruin. It's like it's meant to be like it's something beautiful just tarnished, and I really love how every single thing about this movie, when she's starting to find some sort of like comfort, solace in the vicar, how he just takes a fucking right turn on that and says it's her fault. How when she's just looking out into a field, enjoying the nature that's around, she sees a man completely nude. How when she's enjoying a tunnel and she's like singing, there's someone at the end of it and screaming and running at her and ruins her mood. Every single time she has something that's hers, it's constantly ruined. And I feel like that's a really good way of showing like trauma essentially, because and that's what it is essentially. Is just her inability to enjoy anything because it's always like this terrible thing that happened is always in the back of her mind, and she's like basically construing this own like reality of like everyone is just like this person. And I really like the theme of that, and it for a lot of women that is their like whole life, like how they go about everything. is like they're always looking over their shoulder. They're always like nervous to be anywhere near a strange, random, unfamiliar man. So it's like, I understand that. I feel like that if you don't watch the movie, you can really see, like, if you're just getting like a synopsis of it, you're gonna go into it thinking like, oh, this dude just hates men.
Yeah.
Like he just
Like,
wants to
he's
talk
like
shit or something.
he's like this generic Mr. Nice Guy just trying to appease women. Like,
Yeah.
but that's not what he's doing here at all. Like he's commenting on it, and he's doing it in a tasteful way where he's respecting women.
Because
And
he's a
kind
man
of-
himself.
Yeah, because
Exactly,
let's be
yeah.
honest here, like, just not to get too crazy, but you know, in society, men are held to a certain standard versus
Mhm.
women. So it's always this, argument of not really what the woman does wrong, but what the man does wrong, because the woman is always considered innocent.
Mhm.
That's sort of like the plight that is going around with gender politics and gender side saying like, well, men have it harder than women because of this and that. Well, no, women have it harder because of this and that. Then you have other communities like transgender people saying, no, our plights are harder because of this and that. So it's like everyone has their own plights, and they're always trying to one up each other. Always trying to say they're
Essentially.
struggling more. I'm struggling more. I'm struggling more. I'm struggling more. What Alex Garland here is doing, he's commenting on it from just like kind of his perspective and how he understands it from what I'm getting, because he wrote it. So obviously he's gonna put a lot of thought, like a lot of his own points of view into the writing. So I find it really interesting that, that's sort of what he was going for with it. And you don't feel like there's an agenda, it's a commentary. That's definitely what I really liked about it, for sure.
And I feel like a lot of people are going to be like, well, they should have shown it from like the men's perspective.
Mhm,
Like,
yeah.
like not all men are like this, and that's entirely true. Not all men have like such devious like underlying tones in what they do. Like any like thing like that. It's just showing this character has this trauma, this like pain that's like constantly following her. It's not going to appeal to a lot of people if it's going to be like, if they're like looking for a reason to get upset by it. It's like
Mhm.
this character struggles with this,
Mhm.
and she sees it in all these other things, and it's fucking with her. She can't enjoy anything, and she's terrified and haunted by it. And it's like, a lot of the times people feel like a movie has to pretty much just cater to everyone and show all perspectives, but you're only getting her perspective, and that's
Exactly.
what it's
I think
supposed
it's
to show.
totally valid.
No, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Yes.
I mean,
That's
Like,
what it's supposed to
it's
show.
like we've seen that other type of movie
Mhm.
many times
No,
before.
exactly,
Like I
yeah.
love this take on it.
yeah,
Yeah.
give this movie what it is. It's showing this one person with their one problem, and that's what it is.
And my thing with it too, it's definitely like, it's not about saying what he's saying is right or wrong. It's just trying to understand what he's saying, and
Yeah.
then you form your own opinion.
Yeah, and
Even
like
because all film, all comedy, all tragedy, everything is subjective.
Mhm.
You come up with your own opinion of it. That's the point of doing art and film and comics and video games and all kinds of media. The point is they're telling a story from their own perspective, their own points of views, but also they're going to acknowledge other points of views, and it could either be in a negative light or a positive light. How that's perceived is up to you.
Yeah.
And I feel like people who didn't enjoy the movie like we did don't fully, and other people who have seen this who are listening now and they enjoyed it themselves as well, they're not, the people who didn't enjoy it aren't fully understanding what Alex Garland is trying to say.
there are some like normie people on a surface level that I could see watching this movie. I mean, we saw it with not a big audience, but like those girls that were in front of us. I
Yeah.
can tell like they got a totally different reaction to the movie than we did. Like they're straight laughing at some scenes.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, like not the intention. Like, I mean, I get
I
it.
get it, like you get why they're laughing, but you're like, that's not the point.
Yeah.
Which is, that's another thing with filmmaking in general, and or making a TV show or a video game. There's going to be moments that make you laugh that weren't intended to be
Mhm.
laughed at.
Yeah, it's just that's my perception of like certain type of people with some movies. It's made me realize that like, okay, like I said, you and I had a different interpretation to some shit that they're laughing at, and so it's like, I don't know. It just makes me curious where some of these people's minds are really, because it's not like I would go and watch this movie for like pure entertainment. Which,
Right.
don't get me wrong, I am entertained by it, but this movie actually has like shit to say.
Yeah.
And aside from like movies that are just there for entertainment value.
I could see like the part with the vicar with his split hand puts it around the Harper's neck. I can see how the audacity of such a thing to happen could make someone chuckle.
Yeah.
Like for me, it made me cringe a little bit because I was like, ugh. I was like, that's gross.
It was
Like, I was like,
effective though.
Yeah, but I can see how the audacity of it can make someone chuckle.
No, yeah, and like that.
Well, that's what I'm confused by. I don't know what kind of laughter this was.
yeah.
I'm like, what?
Maybe it was like they were uncomfortable when they were. I don't know.
Yeah,
I could definitely sense that this movie would garner that kind of reaction. Like, it would make you go, oh wow, that's really fucked up.
We're going here, guys.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's gotten a lot of polarizing reactions.
Yeah.
And what's your reaction, Rico? I want to hear your rating. We went on a long tangent.
We did.
Oh yeah, I said 8.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I would say a solid 8 for me. I really enjoyed the movie. I went into it knowing absolutely nothing, and I was really pleasantly surprised. Like I wasn't completely blown away, but I mean, like I still really enjoyed this movie. There's a lot of scenes, like it's just beautiful, man.
Yeah.
Like the singing in the tunnel, like that is like my favorite scene in the entire movie. Just as how beautiful it is.
Yeah, and all things considered, I think this is like one of our meatier discussions that we've had.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like in
Definitely, yeah, for sure.
like in terms of other films we've discussed, I feel like we've like gotten a lot out of something like this.
Yeah,
and, like,
dude.
Yeah,
Because the only other movies I could really think of right now on the top of my head where we really had those meaty conversations was like Everything Everywhere All at Once, The Lighthouse,
Oh,
and The
that's a
Northman.
lot.
Like,
Yeah.
and then Cloud Atlas, because Cloud Atlas was heavy. There was a lot with Cloud Atlas, so that wasn't even meaty. That was like a fucking buffet.
yeah, no, that was
With
like
Cloud Atlas, it was like 8 different movies.
Yeah.
unstructured conversation. We were in order, guys.
We were everywhere.
we tried, all right? We tried to be organized. It didn't work.
Yeah, so, we got any other last opinions, guys? Are we good to go?
Yeah, no, I love the movie. I'm glad you guys gave it a chance and you guys enjoyed it quite a bit as well. Freaking, I'm glad. Freaking, yeah.
Going back to Jurassic World Dominion, I really enjoyed the promotional material leading up to the movie instead of the actual movie, which great job to the advertising team, the fucking terrible job to the product itself.
Yeah, freaking just like I said, they're special effects vehicles. I'm sure that demographic of people that just want to see dinosaurs on screen.
I mean, I enjoyed Bryce Dallas Howard. That was it. Again, that's the only thing I really like.
Pretty Woman too.
Oh yeah.
Cast more Pretty Women.
She needs to
Take notes,
She
Hollywood.
needs to let me get to her gams, because oh my god. So that's the only good thing I can think of with Jurassic.
You'll get Andrew's money if you cast Bryce Dallas Howard. Guys.
You think I watched The Mandalorian because it's good? No, because she directed episodes.
But yeah,
Well,
So we went from a 2 to an 8.
8. That's good.
I gave
So,
I gave it a 9.
a 9, an
Nine.
8, an 8, and then with Dominion it was a 2, 2, and a 1.
Yeah.
Man, I always go lower than all you guys. Like,
You just hate.
Hey, now
I'm just such a bunch killer,
You're just
bro.
a hater.
hey man, that's okay. I tore Big Trouble Little China.
Yeah.
Hey, that's fine. That's fine. I'll take it.
I kind of beat up It Follows a little bit, nothing like.
Hey, an 8 is still fantastic. Everyone strives to at least make it to 8. Like,
I strive to make it
that's
to
a
8.
great movie.
I
That's
strive
not saying a movie's a bad movie.
Yeah.
No, I think 6 is
I
the
strive
good
to make it to
range.
6.
Yeah,
I
I'd
strive
say
to make it-
good.
I strive to make it to 6.
8
Five
is
is-
like great to amazing.
Fantastic.
Like, come on.
How I always view it is okay, 1 dog shit, 2 awful, 3 bad, 4 below average, 5 average, 6 above average, 7 good, 8 great, 9 fantastic, 10 near perfect.
That's basically how I write that too, man.
Yeah, no, yeah. 10. Every time I think of a 10, I just think of Homelander and the boys. Were just like, I gotta tell you, it was perfect. Everything was down to the last minute detail. That's just like, that's what I want to give a movie when it's a 10. Like, that's my brain. Like, it's me saying that's how good it is.
Yeah, I hold my 10s very scarcely. I think we've only given 1. I think it's everything everywhere all at once. I still think
I
that's
gave-
only 10.
I think I gave The Lighthouse a 10 too.
Oh, I give that a 10 too. Sorry. Yeah.
I
right.
gave Everywhere All at Once, Everywhere, Everything All at Once. a
Everything,
10.
Everywhere.
All at once. It's a confusing.
I know. And then I think I also gave the newest Spider-Man No Way Home a 10. Because of
I
all
might have
the.
given it a 10 or a 9. I don't remember now.
I think I gave it a 10 just because I really enjoyed
I think
it.
I gave the Batman a 10 actually.
Okay.
I think
I
I
give
gave-
that an 8.
I think I gave it a 10. I don't remember.
I gave it a 7.
You gave the Batman a 7? Really?
Yeah, I think so. I watched it a second time afterwards and I liked it way more.
Oh.
I didn't dislike it.
You want to change that rating, Rico?
I don't. I might rate it lower. I don't remember.
You would rate the Batman. You want to put some respect on Vengeance's name, huh?
Here comes vengeance.
Beating up in your own house, Rico.
He's
Shit.
not even Batman.
You take that back.
Yeah.
It's just like, I don't know, it's just like Thunder and Lightning, like, fear the tool. Like, you just hear it out of nowhere.
Just open the window, get that thunder.
Then the music like, dun, 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 dun.
So yeah, is there anything else you guys want to plug in before we wrap up here? Just a few little updates we want to give you guys.
Yeah.
Andrew, Rico.
Andrew.
Like I'm working on, I mean, I've mentioned this before, and now that we're back from our hiatus, I am working on a TikTok page for the podcast, and it is called, because I have the actual name now, because I said it wrong the last time. I think we mentioned it when we were on a hiatus. Wait, no, this is the episode we're talking about hiatus. Sorry. The TikTok I have for us is called AM Podcast 2022. So feel free to check that out. I have just like maybe 2 or 3 TikToks on there right now. So I'll have more uploaded as we're uploading more episodes.
Yeah, these links will be uploaded in the description, so just make sure to check that bar below. I'll also have like our Instagram page and Facebook. Facebook's kind of dying, but still throwing it out there. But for sure, follow us on Instagram.
Oh no!
and TikTok.
It's called
Twitter.
the metaverse now. That's what it's called, or some stupid shit like that on Facebook.
Oh, correct.
What?
The metaverse. I don't know. I'll show you guys an ad later. It's
Oh
so
my
good.
god.
But yeah,
Oh my god.
check the description. We'll have all that stuff. Rico, do you want to plug in Practically Done?
Yeah,
What
yeah.
we'll be doing there?
So we're actually going to begin filming another episode of Practically Done. We're bringing it back. The hiatus is going to end for that one as well. We're going to get our friend to come on in to be an actress, and that's going to be really cool to do. And yeah, we're going to have that filmed next week. Hopefully get it edited after the week after that. Might be a little longer because of the holiday coming up. But yeah, so we should have more content for Practically Done, our series where we pretty much take all the practical effects from horror movies that we enjoyed in the past and try our hand at recreating those practical effects and then putting them into our own little skits, namely horror movie skits. And just, it's another good way of just seeing us like in person, doing our own thing, more live action stuff. And I think that's a really fun thing to do. It's called Practically Done, and that'll be in the description.
Yeah. Yeah, another note on the hiatus. You know, we kind of have like a solid thing going here now, so we're gonna be consistent with our weekly uploads from here on out until, you know, further notice. We'll definitely do a better job at notifying you guys if anything changes, but as of right now, I can pretty confidently say that you know, these uploads will be pretty consistent weekly or bi-weekly, but yeah, we'll let you know. Yeah, so I didn't really think too far ahead on this, to be honest. I wasn't really thinking. But so this was my recommended episode. Who's next after
That's
me?
Andrew right there.
Okay.
Is it me?
Yeah, so
Mine was Dr. China, remember?
that's correct.
To
Correct.
China. Why dog to China?
So yeah, Andrew will be the next recommended movie, and yeah. So what would your recommended movie be? And well, usually our formula is to it would be the new movie the week that we discuss first, and then the recommended movie. So our timing is a little weird here. So I mean, I think it would be fair to just give Andrew, you know, 2 recommendations or whatever movie was out then or whatever movie is out now, or if you just want to do 2 recommendations, I'm cool
You know
with either.
that Santa
I mean,
Claus episode
I
or
was-
movie's coming out.
You know what?
Oh, Violent Night. I
Violent
watched
Night.
it.
Did you really?
It's
I want to watch it.
Awesome.
I want to watch it so bad.
Yes, it's
But
fun
you
to
know
watch,
what? You know what
guys.
I'm thinking, boys?
What's
Yeah.
that?
Because this is episode 9, correct?
Mhm.
Our
Yeah.
next episode's gonna be episode 10. So I was thinking that we could do a trilogy, and that trilogy, if
Oh.
you guys are down, would be John Wick. Because
For-
part 4 is coming out soon too. So I mean,
That would actually be pretty convenient. I've only seen the first John Wick.
I have all 3.
So you want that for episode 9?
Or episode 10, because it's episode 9, right?
Either or. Another thing we forgot to mention is we do have a Thor: Love and Thunder discussion that we're trying to throw out there too. That was something none of us recommended, so we'll definitely find somewhere to throw that in.
But believe you me, we have opinions we want you guys to hear.
Yeah. It's just a one-off,
Yeah.
so it'll just be by itself. But we definitely want to get that discussion in there. We got a little over an hour in on that discussion, so
Yeah.
that'll definitely be coming soon.
Once
but,
we iron out the details on what episode 10 and 11 will be, you guys will find out for sure.
but yeah,
Yeah.
this episode. Well, no, this is episode 9 that we're
Yes,
recording
it's-
right now. So
yeah.
yeah, your next episode 10.
Mhm.
Yeah, perfect. So yeah.
Works.
Yeah, Andrew's recommendation, the John Wick trilogy. I think that works out perfectly.
That
I
works,
actually
yeah.
have the trilogy too on 4K.
I have it too. I have like DVDs. I have DVDs of the John Wick movies because
I
I
got them-
bought the first one.
I got them bitches on VHS.
I
baby.
got the motherfucking DVD disc when it only says the name of the movie and nothing else.
So yeah, we're gonna get some quality viewing in.
It'll be great. Cannot wait for you guys to hear it. I think we're pretty much done then, right? We got nothing else to put out there.
Yeah, everything's plugged in. Everything that you guys need to know social media wise will be in the description below. So yeah, make sure to give us a follow. And yeah, it's been a great episode. Freaking love you guys, and we love our audience. And yeah, we hope you have a great day.
Steadily growing too. 19 subscribers.
Damn right, baby. 19 subscribers. Shout out to you, 19.
Yeah.
Gang crew, we love you. If we could meet you, we hug you.
Yes, keep listening to us, and listening to us again when you go to sleep. So
Listen
you
to
can rack up the
our
view count.
our bloated egos and our opinions.
Yeah, we're trying to form those parasocial relationships.
Of of course, because we think we're superior, because we're men. No kids.
Oh, yeah.
MEN.
Anyways, bye.
Bye, guys.
Later, guys.